Hello,
Okay.
Johannes. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. I just last week I was traveling around to do interviews, see them in person, and now we're back to this, when you do all the interviews looking like this, basically, because you
Yeah.
got a dog sleeping in your lap and everything, which is nice in its own way. So,
Just just to
so
know,
that's good.
do you have any interview later? Just to know more or less how
Yeah,
long,
we have half an hour, then it's
half an
immediately the
hour.
next one. Yes.
Perfect. So, first of all, nice to meet you. My name is Yolanda. I'm settled in UK, but my
Okay.
my webpage is for Spain. So
Cool.
I will focus later in the days that you are gonna play in Spain. But
Yeah.
first of all, we have to talk about the new album that
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
upcoming 31st of October. I think you have thought in this date for anything special, maybe Halloween.
Yeah, as far as I know, that was a bit more of a happy accident in the sense that,
Ah.
there's a window in the fall and the spring when you usually release albums, right? And things and it's more dependent on how long does the mixing take, how long does the mastering take, do we have an album cover, when can the vinyls be printed, and everything starts to align, and then you start to see in the future when it would come out, and it's like that's Halloween. That's awesome. Let's take that one. So it was an opportunity that arose, but I feel it's fitting.
Yeah, it's a really nice coincidence.
Hmm.
I listened the whole album. I had this privilege, and I want to highlight three different songs, not too much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The first one, Tonight We Must Be Warriors. I
Yeah.
think it has more epic sounds,
Hmm.
maybe more heavy metal oriented, more accessible,
Hmm.
maybe, is the first one.
Sorry, what was the last thing you said about it? Heavy metal oriented, then what did you say?
And more accessible for the first listener.
Maybe, yeah, probably. It's certainly meant to be quite direct, in like say an epic way. Basically, so that main guitar melody, I had that for a long time, and there was a song before this song that just where I used that, but also used a lot of other things inspired by weird stuff, such as the avant-garde movie composer in Japan, Susumu Hirasawa's way of sampling voices, and all kind of things were happening that were a bit interesting, but nothing is interesting if you don't have a good chorus.
Hmm.
So that one had to go back in the drawer and get another go right now. And what it came together to be, to me, it's the idea of giving the political left a Manowar song, basically. That kind of anthemic heavy metal stuff. Because, I grew up listening to a lot of metal where they sang a lot about kings, medieval kings and
Yeah.
fantasy kings. I grew up hearing a lot of songs about glorious warriors and all that, and I can still like the aesthetic, but I can only sing about kings if it's Jonas, because then the song about the king is actually about how much I love one of my best friends. So that works. And with warriors, everything touching that, and soldiers. I mean,
There is
I
my next question is more or less in this sense because I saw the video clip,
could.
and if I listen only the song, you must think maybe in warriors that go to the war to fight, but
Yeah,
with the video clip maybe you refer or you mean more don't know, inner devils, like mental illness or
no,
weakness.
actually,
No?
no. Like, so what I meant, and that I felt I coded it so in the lyrics of the song, there are a couple of things happening. Of course, it starts that someone makes a personal journey and dares to take off towards something, right? But then what it also immediately, one like a thousand and millions of us, is that sense of number one, not being alone. And then the color red is very forthcoming, which is also a political statement. It's kind of like back in the day when Rammstein did Link 2, 3, 4 because they were accused of being Nazis and whatnot, and they were the complete opposite basically in their values. So they felt they needed to do that, and so the idea of tonight we must be warriors again to go back to the whole. I couldn't really, I wouldn't glorify what a soldier does, although I could certainly write a song about heroism and sacrifice in that setting. Um, it cannot be done the way I would see fit without also really sinking into the tragedy of the whole thing. But the warriors in this case, it talks about the necessity to stand up for something. And also, so in the second verse, the idea of that, people are scattered along the way, but at some point they grow enough in numbers and come together and stop to become a problem. The idea of people come, so a threat to the powers that be. So essentially, if you really pick it apart, I guess I want people to start unions and go on a strike,
Mm.
uh, all in all. So, and then with the music video, you know, uh, yeah, that took a slightly different turn, obviously, where I really liked the imagery of just the kind of Mary Poppins things, really, of going up to a chimney top in a town, a bit inspired by an idea of like an old-timey London place, and then floating away from that, reaching higher heights. But of course, there the coming together is within the band, us finding each other and going on
Mm.
an adventure. So in the music video, we really ended up just simply having fun with it, I would say.
No, but you went or you got a really nice artwork. The video is amazing.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah, Yuan had developed a very strong vision for that this time. It's like how the beginning, the whole color scheme is inspired by the old Nosferatu movie posters, and then the
Mm.
sepia tone is straight up Wizard of Oz. Like I said, it's the whole visual journey and that's mostly Yuan to be credited for that. Really, um, yeah, really became quite something.
Yeah, second song in the airwaves, which is also the first song that you publish. Totally
No,
different.
Captain Goat was the first one.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
That's true.
But yeah, in the
Uh,
airways, sorry. Go ahead.
it's a little bit the old Avatar. Some reminders of thoughts of not tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess so in a way. I mean, I think Thoughts on a Tomorrow is still a kind of there. You still write in a way that you can only really do when you're very young, in my opinion, for better or worse, or like it comes with a lot of limitations as far as for us as composers, but a type of charm that you cannot recreate, all these years later. That being said, it's certainly maybe it feels like a throwback simply because it's a really fast song. It's the fastest song we recorded for many, 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 many years at this point. Um, yeah, so in that sense, fast and aggressive music, and but of course, I hope with some sensibilities that as much as we cannot write the kind of music we did when we were teenagers now, we certainly couldn't have written the kind of music we're able to write now instead. And but it feels good then to do something speedy and aggressive and all of
Hmm.
that and pushing those boundaries in a way that we can really feel it still to this day. That's important to us.
That gives me an idea to ask you when you plan to start to compose a new song or a new album. You have recorded nowadays 10 albums already. So
Mm,
do you
mm.
listen all your career albums to get some inspiration or no?
No, not I do gladly from time to time, for different reasons, but listen to things, especially what I end up from our catalog. Like it's when things start to feel really, really old. So it's almost like another person wrote it.
Yeah.
That that that's fun. Like I can listen to, yeah, the teenage years. I'm mesmerized sometimes, but because it's so weird that, if you look at really old photography, and then I can, reflect a bit on what happened very recently. Um, but once it's time to make something new, we really let go of the past. So it's only once everything is done now, and I've been starting to do interviews, then of course it comes up a lot, and and certainly it's absolutely correct. This is our 10th album. While we are making it, it's just the album. And rather than that we get inspiration from listening to what we have done in the past, it's more whatever music, you have the foundations of that we like old school death metal, we like old school heavy metal, we have some we don't try to sound retro, but certain old school ideals that influences the music a lot. But around that, then it's a lot of whatever we pick up and listen to in this period, in the period when we are writing the music. And that's new and old mixed, or just new to us, even if it's not new to the world, discover all kinds of music along the way that inspires us. So we don't go to ourselves for inspiration, sometimes maybe a bit of reflection. And also sometimes to look back at, to make sure that what we're doing now, that we haven't really done it before. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always, Avatar is a metal band, so that stays. But then what we do with it, how we bend and break our own rules for things and try to find new angles on it. Um, so if I listen to, I might only listen to Hail the Apocalypse to make sure that I don't write it again.
Don't repeat the same melody. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair enough.
Mm.
So, before highlighting the third song that I like from the album, don't know if it's the next single, maybe. Do you plan to release any single more before the releasing of the album?
Um, yeah, there are two more coming,
Oh,
and I don't know. I don't think I can tell yet.
no,
One with a proper music video, and one with more, the lyric visualizer thing.
I
Um,
found
yeah.
really special Dead and Gone and Back Again because I
Hmm.
think it collects all the features that Avatar or the genres that Avatar has nowadays.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I really like that song, and I bet maybe it's a candidate for the upcoming set lists.
Well, I certainly hope so. It's not one that is being planned to be played live anytime soon, but only for the reason that there's so like our show is already 2 hours long, and there's this balance, right? You have that list of songs that you should play every time,
Yeah,
that you build something with the audience. Not just that they're popular, but they become popular for a reason. We play them a lot to build them for a reason, and now they're part of the tradition of seeing Avatar. So 1/3 of the show is built around the traditions in that sense. Then 1/3 is kind of keeping it, looking in the back catalog and surprising ourselves and the audience with stuff we haven't done in a while, and to bring that on stage. And then the final third is, of course, we really like to play a lot of the new stuff. So I guess on the what we're gonna tour now, unless we do make any last minute changes, that's like 5 of the new songs are in the set list, if I remember. So it's quite a bit. But then that also means that we're leaving out like, I don't know, six
yeah.
songs. So it's always hard.
And also, I'm not sure about that question, but you own your own record label?
Yes, since
Oh,
Dance Devil Dance. So this is our second album on our own label.
oh, amazing! Congrats.
Thank
I
you.
imagine it's a titanic work.
Well, we all had different roles to play, and luckily we all kind of get to do the things that fit us and that we like with it. But it also, when we were on labels before, because we have very mixed feelings about different labels we've been
Yeah.
working with. So a lot of the time we ended up doing the work ourselves. And now we just actually have control of the budget for doing it ourselves and see the returns ourselves and everything. So everything about it is better. And I mean, we still have a great distributor with 30 Tigers. We still have our booking agents, our press agents, our management,
Hmm.
so a lot of the pieces of what it means to be in the music industries are still there and still people around us outside of the band. And also the label we run together with our management. So, but it's just been no, no, it's been great. We just struggle to see the point on our level
Hmm.
what a label could really do or are willing to do with us. Um, if you're much, much earlier in your career and really just starting out, maybe the opportunity to sign with someone can help get you started. Just be careful with those first
Yeah,
contracts, I'm telling you. Um, but there's a room for that in the beginning, I think, still. But then where we are at now, for me to be interested in signing with a label, I need someone to land a helicopter on my roof and come knock on the door and says, Johannes, you are just as beautiful as Taylor Swift. Here's 10 million euros. We're
yeah.
gonna make you a star. Because otherwise, meh, we've been able to grow the band. It's the independent avatar that broke attendance records on tour. It's the independent avatar that went on tour with Iron Maiden and will tour with Metallica. All of this happened since we started our own label. So, I mean,
That's
we need.
amazing. And don't worry, because we are gonna talk about this
Mhm.
later. The cover of the album, are you with a red balloon? So
Yes.
my suggestion is a tribute to it, and my partner Jordi has the suggestion that is a tribute to Winnie the Pooh. So any of us is correct? Anyone is
Well,
or incorrect?
the whole it thing was something that, I mean, it's stupid to say that it's by accident, but in the very beginning of me, starting to paint my face and unleashing that inner clown, of course, it was a big part of it. But because what I feel I do with what the music is about and how we use, the clown character, of course, there's a horror element, big horror element, but there's also that psychological touch and I get to play the conscious or the storyteller or the jester. I have had all these different roles that I fill depending on the music or videos and stuff. That because it was so always so antagonistic, and I feel like my roles have been way more protagonistic, you know, uh, that I kind of forgot about it. And then the balloon came around, and we took all those pictures, and then we looked at it like, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen King. So we were thinking about it a lot in the past, and now I'm thinking about it because it's there. But right when working on it, it was just to figure something out then and there. And you know what? What's funny? Because I am who I am. As I've been walking around with that red balloon, I've been singing the Swedish version of Winnie the Pooh when he sings that he's a little rain cloud.
Ah,
You remember the very early animated Winnie the Pooh when he goes
yeah.
up to lure the bees? So I've been walking around while waiting, for to go in the shot, and I've been singing that Winnie the Pooh song. So I probably have more Winnie the Pooh in me uh, than it, in a
Mm,
sense. So good.
nice.
So your friend's comment was quite accurate, actually.
And then I'm curious about the beginning of the clown. The first design that you did of this makeup was the final that you wear nowadays, or you have
Mm.
changed this over the years, or how do you reach to
Well,
this
I have changed it
turn?
because I've gotten better at it.
Okay.
That's been one part, so I think it's shrunk a little. But then between it's always the same principle thing. But Emma Falkensjö is the lady who's done my makeup for the most part, since this Smells Like a Freak Show music video. She also, when other people have done it, they have followed her example. So she's kind of the one. And between the albums, she has gone for tiny changes,
Hmm.
trying to capture that's a little touch that she gets to, that she reflects upon a bit extra depending on what we're doing with the album. So it was much same design, but more slim on Dance Devil Dance. And then now it's more bigger and more closer to a diamond shape this time. And because Emma did it, then I try to copy it when I do it for stage. And so small change.
Okay, we will expect next designs. And you are gonna tour in Spain, and you are gonna go with Alien Weaponry and Witch Club Satan and
Hmm.
Agabas in some dates, not in
Yeah.
Spain.
Mhm.
How do you choose the supporting bands for a new tour?
It's a mess every time. We make a wish list
Oh,
and we tried, you try to balance who can help us sell a couple of tickets, who do we think are really cool, who seems like nice people, and everything. And every time it's a trip to make all of those align. Like we start with just a dream list, and then lots of them can maybe busy and stuff. Um, but at this time we got really lucky because I think all those bands are really great. Alien Weaponry, we have known each other for a few years, some of us, and been wanting to do something together for a long time. And then we were close sometime, and but then they ended up going with, I think it was Gojira at the time, meaning so that is one in particular. I'm happy that it's finally happening because both parties have been very willing to for some time. And then Witch Club Satan, we got introduced to, but because as an option to tour with us, and I've become a big fan already, so that's great. And Calabas also, look forward to get to know them better as well. But it's a good lineup. One of my favorites that we have ever had of the combination of very cool people doing something very cool, and some cases it's been a long time in the making. And but it's just a puzzle. Like we have our list, booking agents have their list. You send out in the world like, hey, we're going on tour, submit band suggestions to booking agents and stuff. And then you start weeding through the lists, trying to find things that tick all the boxes.
yeah. Okay, and now you were the guest band in the last tour of Iron Maiden. We need to talk about this. How was
Mhm.
that experience? Scary?
We were when we were touring with them in Brazil a couple of years ago. That was scary because that was the first time, also on a brand new continent. Um, we kind of got over that where now this European run, I was able to much more purely enjoy it and focus on why we were there. Still a dream moment, and of course, life being lifelong fans, was able to for the most part manage those emotions better this time. Um, yeah, no, it was a special run, and it's a special position to be in. You get used surprisingly quickly to the size of the crowds.
Hmm.
So then it's more about learning how to connect with those crowds. Because when you start out and nobody knows of you, you maybe play for 30 people. And the challenge is in the beginning is to make something small feel big. And you spend all those years trying to make something small feel big, and that grows your audience and grows your audience until then, and suddenly you stand sometimes in front of a really big audience. And then you
Yeah.
have to try to make something very big feel small, meaning that you reach all the way to the back. Because it's not just playing the songs and banging your head and everything. Yeah, sure. But there's all those little things and stuff that is simply a mindset, I guess, that is all about connecting with, making sure that you see people,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. No. It's an interesting point
and
of view.
connect
Yeah.
with them. Yeah. So that it's become something more. And that is, I think if you interview bands that play the biggest shows all the time, how much they love then doing club shows when they can because of that sense of connection. And I think it's all about mastering your craft to be able to, make that connection when it's such a vast number of people. And especially if you're the opening band, so you have to try, they need to get to know you, so it's a process.
And Metallica next year.
Hmm.
I'm near London, 50 minutes, so probably I will be
Hmm.
there.
Awesome.
Wow, that's a milestone, I think.
Yes, especially, and that's a kind of like Iron Maiden in its own right, like was that things came to a full circle when we toured with them because that's the first trip with the first time we traveled as a band was that we went to Stockholm to see Iron Maiden when we were 15, 16 years old. Um, and with Metallica, now that will happen again because I don't think there would have been an Avatar the way we know it without Metallica because John and Jonas started the band. But John asked, it was John's initiative to ask Jonas, should we start a band? And John got into heavy metal and all of that because when he was 12, he broke his leg and he skiing. and he was lying on his bed mostly. And his mom bought him some CDs, and two of those CDs were Metallica, and that changed
Oh,
everything for him. And that's the John that then wanted to start a band and do those things. So um, without Metallica, no Avatar. And I know a lot of bands have similar stories about them.
okay. So I have five remaining questions. I'm gonna try to be fast.
And I'll try to be
Uh,
fast too.
Next year, 20 years of thoughts of not tomorrow. Do you plan anything special?
We'll see. It's also 10 years since Feathers and Flesh, so
Mm.
we've been talking more about that one.
Oh, okay. Uh, what is a secret gathering?
It's our form of meet and greet. We just put a little bit more of effort there to
Ah,
make it
okay.
special
Is
for us
not
and
not
for them.
smaller concerts or okay,
No, no, we meet
okay.
people.
Uh Also, I don't know if you are familiar with the term shock rock.
Yeah, 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 of course.
I'm reading nowadays a book of this, but the book ends the story of the bands maybe in 2014. But I think
Mm.
Avatar is a group of shock rock. Do you agree?
Yeah, to a certain degree, I do, and especially if you look in what happened around Black Waltz. Um, but I think it's grown to something. It's a whole metal circus where the shock value has its place. But I think if you look at the big ones there, I mean, I would pick, of course, Alice Cooper. I would pick, yeah, Rammstein. I would pick a couple of ones that really leaned into the shock value more consistently. Um, and we have been very inspired by that. Gwar is also one I guess would fit on the shock rock. Like there are many that I feel rely more on that than we do. It's a piece of the puzzle for us.
I think maybe you need or we need the next generation of shock rock, and you are in this.
Yeah. Well, I also think that maybe it's even younger people should do it so they, because the whole point is to shock the old ones. I like it when people are 20 years old and do something that I don't understand. That's real rock and roll.
Yeah, true. And two questions that we usually do to all the persons that we
Mhm.
interview is if you had all the money in the world to spend doing a trick in the on live in the stage, what would you like to do?
Well, one thing would be maybe, well, one thing would be to get to set up something that would be actual musical theater, musical rock opera, something like that, which would include just that you stay in the same place for longer, a production that would be harder to tour, you know, and
Mm,
those kind of opera stages where it's just message space above, below, behind, and each side of the stage that things can go in and out, and that you can have a residential and do, I don't know, 10, 20, 100 shows in the same place, that you're built an audience willing enough to travel. That kind of thing, you know?
yeah.
Uh, so I don't have specifics beyond that, but just to have that setting where you could really be inventive because you don't need to travel.
Okay, and the last is, do you remember the first time that you cried in a concert? And which band and which song?
It was Blind Guardian and was already on the intro,
Oh,
War of Wrath, which
I
led
really
into
love
the
of
storm.
War song. For
Yeah.
me, is the
Mm.
which song?
No, no, that
Sorry.
was the it was the intro track,
Ah,
War of Wrath. But the first song they actually played was Into the Storm. But they already had me since way before the concert. It was a very big deal for me to see them for the first time.
fair enough. Okay, so for my part, it's finished. Just ask you if you can record 5 seconds saying, "Hi all, I am Johannes from the band or singer from the
Yeah,
band
yeah, yeah.
Avatar."
And Stairway to
Uh,
Rock.
exactly.
Hey you, I'm Johannes from Avatar, and this is Stairway to Rock. We're good?
Okay,
Thank you
thank you
so
very
much.
much.
I have to run to the next one. You have a
Perfect.
great
On
day. Thank you
time.
for your time. Good job.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.